Flipping the classroom is much more than making video lectures. More importantly, flipped learning pushes teachers to rethink how they connect their students to their course content. Creating concise flip lessons allows students to preview or review course material that once would have been taught as a lecture format during class time. Flip lesson videos allow teachers to provide more personalized differentiation. Flip lessons are also a great way for teachers to be able to model strategies for parents to support their students' learning outside of the classroom. I've worked with educators from different content areas and grade levels to assess a variety of ways to make effective video lectures. To go beyond basic video cameras, we've explored the video creation features of document cameras and iPads. It's important for teachers to maximize the devices that they already have access to. Formative assessment improves teachers' abilities to create personalized learning opportunities and increase student productivity. This week, participants gained hand-on experiences with collaborative and assessment features of Google Docs, specifically Google Forms. They made their own TED Ed videos as well. Teachers must modernize their practice to harness the potential of their students. This week, I've seen educators become empowered by their hands-on experiences and ability to produce content that they can directly implement into their own learning organizations.
So we are coming to the close of our Flip Classroom course, part of the Chiwaukee program at UW-Parkside. I've been working with teachers from all different districts within southeastern Wisconsin. And it's really been exciting because a lot of the people who signed up for this course didn't really know too much about what flipped learning was or what blended learning was, and really where do those two things intersect, because they do. So, and I would also like to point out that a lot of the teachers I've worked with this week came from all different content areas, as well as didn't really consider themselves technology experts. And in some cases, I think that's actually a good thing or a quite all right thing, because the focus is always on what do you want the students to learn, what are your instructional goals, and where are the outcomes. And then it's my job within this class to help them to really realize, how do you use technology to take your students' learning to the next level and make it more student-centered. And really, with precious class time and instructional time, how do you maximize on that? And flipped learning really can be a way for you as a teacher to become more efficient. I'm really excited to see my students also become more open. If there's one other thing I really learned this week is that people are people, and learners are learners no matter what age they are, no matter what background they are. And it's the key things that really have to do with, like, how do you engage people? How do you build people's confidence and build that gradual release of responsibility? Because that's important even when it comes to teaching adults.
Yeah, I think knowing how many courses I'm going to be teaching, I'm really going to need to set up a good online presence, because I'm not going to be able to manage all the courses any other way, I don't think. And this will allow me to do a lot more work outside of the classroom, which will free up more of our time in the classroom, where we've got so many projects and so many things dealing with expeditionary learning that take up the extra time, that the less time I have to spend on being the actual lecturer as opposed to being a facilitator and a guide to their learning, it's just going to save me so much effort and time, and make it to where I can get to all the content that I'm supposed to cover, where it's so difficult to do it any other way.
So to walk them through this class, we start off by talking about what is flip learning, where does technology fit in terms of helping teachers to push their students and get better results and maximize their instructional time in school. We worked on looking at, what are resources that are out there, and then more importantly, how do they make their own? We also explored, what is the lesson? What do you want them to be able to do, and what's realistic for their students? Because it has to come down to who the people are that you're working with, right? And the environment you're in and the content you have to cover, because that differs too. It's important to then help teachers to really explore the different types of technologies out there that can help them find what's right for them in terms of putting their lesson together in a video format. We've used iPads, we've used document cameras, we've used basic video cameras, and the focus is to keep it simple.
My goal for this year is that I'm going to try to do one flip lesson for every chapter to kind of get used to what I am doing. So, and if it goes well, then I will do more in the future. But I just want to start out very gradually. The one problem that I have with myself being in front of the board is a couple things. Number one is I have to draw things, and because I have to draw things, they're not going to be as visually drawn in as I would like it to be. The second thing is because I have to be in the camera as I'm writing, you don't see the words, or you don't see the numbers quite as well as you would on a document camera. So this is the second thing we're working on, is document camera, and I do like this a little bit better because it's a little more visually pleasing. This is something that they would be able to see and be able to identify a lot easier than me in front of the classroom.
I'm really excited about the concept of flipping the classroom, and when I actually signed up for the course, I thought this was about just updating, using technology better in the classroom, and was so surprised when I sat in the keynote yesterday morning to really learn how revolutionary the idea was to be able to maximize your time as a teacher and have the lecture part totally outside of class and have project-based learning brought into the class and doing the homework inside the class where I can help the students. But even though I thought the idea was so revolutionary, I was so excited about it, I felt overwhelmed by how I could implement that. And today, being able to actually be on the computer and see the different learning management sites, I actually feel really excited because I feel like I can do this. I'm sure there'll be, lots of questions I have along the way, but I just think it's really exciting.
Another component to this course was really exploring learning management systems. We explored how these various systems not only act as a repository for teachers to put their lessons and videos and resources, but how can they also become spaces where students interact and engage. And an extension of that, we also really took some time to look at a lot of Google Apps and Google Apps for education. We looked at Google Docs, we looked at Google Sites, and really tried to figure out how can we maximize the power of the collaborative features of these tools to really help students become more engaged when they're outside of school, when they're inside of school, and more importantly, help teachers understand formative assessment. With technology, we can really maximize on the potential of our students and the efficiency of ourselves as educators. So tomorrow I look forward to seeing my students work. I think it's going to be fantastic. I've seen many adults, participants become empowered and really learn a lot.
Just the way that some teachers would change the way they learned. They would take it upon themselves to just jump this big gap that where before they had difficulty signing up for a resource, and now not only have they signed up, but they're actually using the resource so in so many different ways than they were in the past.
And Google Sites is something that I think, as a teacher right now, uncertain where I'm going to end up, I think it would be an easy site to take with me to different buildings.
That's true, and to be accessible. I think you're right, and it's easily compatible with Google Docs, and that's pretty cool too.
So you asked what I was excited about. I'm really excited about figuring out all those apps and Google Presentation. All those things are going to all take time to play with and work on. Yeah.
What's something new about Google that you learned this week, or I know today we got going on your Gmail, or what's something you realized when you started seeing how it's all connected?
Google's going to be nice because I have access to my own account, plus I can see where other kids are going to be at, and setting up some assessments, I guess, with the Google Sites if everything works out as planned.
What we're trying to do now is record a lesson using our smartboard notebook file so that it'll play in front of the room and we are still able to walk around and help other students. Whereas before, I had to be up at the board manipulating the figures, explaining everything. Now, if I pre-record that, I can almost team teach with myself and walk around and help students that need one-on-one assistance.
And also, in your exploration of using the recording on your smartboard, it does allow you to export to a movie file that you could upload to YouTube theoretically, right?
Right. You can either save it as a Windows Media file, I believe, and that you can upload to YouTube, or else there's a smartboard video you can save it as, and I think that's more if you just want to use it on your computer. But if you wanted to post it to your site, then you can upload it to YouTube and then
Which I think is also great for review and helping parents to assist their children.
One thing I noticed is the class was not just about the technology. And we were able to, I assume you and myself, when I was supporting people, to say, well, how are you going to let the kids know why you're doing this lesson? So we were able to do professional development for the teachers in their lesson, which will carry over to how they teach. At first I think they were thinking like, okay, here's the content, just get it out. But then with support, we were able to help them, okay, you have to introduce it, have the content, share your thinking, not just here's how you do it, here's what I'm thinking while I'm doing it, and then let the kids know, here's the next step, that here's what you will be doing.